Yes, y'all. You don't stop. Welcome back to Friday show. I was just about to come in with the Friends theme song, and then I forgot that I didn't really know how it goes. But I know it's the kind of song that gets stuck in your head. Na 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 na. Cha 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 cha. Yeah, there we go. Cha 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 cha.
I would have clapped, but I didn't want to ring the ears of anyone. I don't know how loud my mic is.
Well, it's Friday. The collar is off, so the gloves are off, which means it's the hour-long show with a special guest as always. What more special guest? Matt, you're just like, we're back. Like, we're back. Like, I feel like it's a thing. Like, we have a thing again. It feels so good. Matt, at Matt Williams, swap the L's for sevens. My man is one of the lead guys at game day. And all kidding aside, Matt, you have taken, like, the fantasy guy into betting thing to a new level that, including myself, is like hasn't really achieved. If you're unfamiliar, follow Matt on Twitter and myself on the Bird app at John Laghezza. But quite literally, Matt, the proof is in the pudding, and you are printing money. What's up, man?
You know me, man. If I put my mind to something, I become obsessed.
Well, again, you know what? And to that point, because you currently have your doubters and you currently have your haters, and I got to be honest, I'm vouching for it. Because I see it, and people know I'm not a fraud. The only thing I've been telling people is like, if you want to follow this style of hardcore degeneracy, Matt is going to beat you to pricing if you're not following him. If you're not following, like you even do people a solid and put out leans first to let them know where your thoughts are. But that's the only thing that I've seen where people say, "Oh, well, do you think Matt's legit?" I'm like, yes, it's legit. The only thing and it's not saying it's not legit, is these markets move, and it's something you preach all the time, getting early. So, Matt, you got anything else on your process? Because, again, I don't want to be like, I've checked it out, but I've seen it in motion, and, man, it's really sharp. You find a few, let's call it, like, I don't know, let's call it juiced props you feel very strongly in, and you have that kind of you weave it throughout the bottom of your prop ticket. Man, it's really impressive stuff. Just go for a quick minute on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, haters. I don't get them.
You know what I mean?
The picks are free. They're public. Anyone who follows me closely enough, because there's people that don't, I put out every bet I make every day. I review them at the end of every night. All of them. I show you how I did in every single one. I usually tweet out the wins and losses as they come. I had one day where I went like 0-15. I tweeted it out. I talked about it. It doesn't happen. I mean, I'm winning more often than I'm losing, but it happens. And the thing is, anyone who tails me too, not that you should blindly tail. Pricing is such a big deal. There's so many people. There's two big things where people lose a lot of money on things that are super simple. Pricing. It's incredibly important. Like I said, I put out my leans the day before. Follow me. I put them up for free. Those are the bets that I'm looking at where I think that the lines, could move, or it's my first look. If I think a line should be locked in immediately because the line will move, in my opinion, I'll even put a little lock emoji next to it. But just because I like a bet at like minus 130 doesn't mean I'm going to like it at minus 150 or minus 145. And then people will blindly tail someone and they'll just lock in a bet. And if you're playing long-term like I am, season long, you have to think bets differently. It's not like, in the NFL, you're just betting this week and you want to make sure you win one bet to win that week and be happy. In MLB, there's like so many games you're going to lose. You're going to lose a ton. Therefore, you take certain shots, like when I won with Oakland at plus 265 because I'm playing the long game. When I take those shots, I think mathematically it's going to work out for me long-term. But if you're constantly taking nothing but high juice stuff, and that's all you do to try to get bets that are surefire wins, your wins can't make up for your losses. So juice matters. When I post a play or anyone posts a play, you got to make sure you're doing the math. Get an implied odds calculator. If you're not really good at math, go in and type in your odds. It'll tell you the percentage chance of a bet being successful or not. and
Well,
that
you
is
know
where
what,
you
Matt?
want to
Hold
be.
on, I got to go to that point
Yeah.
because it's just something I spoke about and my own growth, right? I mean, I was a professional trader. I get into professional betting, but that doesn't mean you automatically know it all. The stuff I had to learn on the fly is just that. I had come in kind of allergic to juice, right? So, meaning I would look at like minus 135, minus 140 in particular, and say, "Ooh, that's like really heavy juice. Like that's not palatable. You can't play those." But when you put them in the odds calculator, you realize that like you kind of have to pay it. Like that's what it is. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. I love that you put the odds to it, and again, you come at it with a mathematical point. And I know people are just sour because you're early to props, right? Early to bad, early to rise. You're early to props, and they move. And then you kind of have to like explain. And we get this as a handicap, right? It was over 3.5 Ks on player X. Well, by the middle of the next day, it's 4.5. And now people go, well, Matt, should I do 4.5? I played 4.5 and he lost. He only had 4. How come you put that he won? And it's like, listen, this is part of the following part of it. Like you said, never blindly tail. But you have to understand, it's a liquid market that's constantly moving. Trust me, if it was solid and Matt and I could say, like a circular, go buy this can of soda for $1.99 because it's worth it, we would do that. But we can't do that. So it becomes, if you hurry up and run to the corner now, you can get it for $1.50. But maybe later on it's $1.75. And that's just part of it. Matt, let's get into the games. Again, I'm going to mostly toss this to you. If I have something that pops out, I'll get it. And if not, we're keeping an eye on that the FanDuel K leader. Now I'm obsessed. I really want to hit it. Like I really want to hit it. So, all right. First up, it's Alek Manoah and Detroit with Fado. The two things here are you trusting guys off the IL? Manoah looked terrible when we last saw him. Good game in like Double A, and he's back. Detroit, that offense is really hit or miss. But Fado is somebody I've liked, but I generally don't back guys off the IL. So Fado striking out a third of the righties he's facing. Toronto just got smoked by Lance Lynn. But I don't know if Fado is going to get the workload to even qualify for any of this stuff. So I'm kind of just thinking I might think Detroit might be the short money, but if not, I'm just letting it go.
All right, this is what I did with this game. One, I don't know what to make of Manoah. He got smoked in the minor leagues. Detroit's obviously not a juggernaut offense. Oh, here's something for the haters. They're going to hate me for this. I posted it last night. Over the F5 team total 1.5. I jumped on that at like minus
hold
1.
On. Detroit, you're talking about, right?
Yeah, Detroit.
Yeah,
Detroit,
good play.
F5 team total 1.5. I jumped on it like 130, minus 130, jumped to like 165, 175, and then immediately jumped to over 2.5.
Yeah.
You got to get those early because sometimes there's narrative bets where, they're immediately going to, switch early. So that's a reason you go for that. So yeah, 1.5 good. 2.5 I don't even like. We like the 1.5, John, because it's a low gate to jump over,
right.
And that's why we like it. 2.5. I mean, not that I would shock me if they loaded, just dominated Manoah the way he looked. But yeah, I like that. I do like Faedo's props today because I don't know how he'll go, but you said they just got dominated. It's only 3.5 strikeouts. When he was healthy, he was clearing that easy. So I do like that today. I think last time I checked, you can get that for like a minus 130, which
let's get that.
I'm all right with. And one thing is the under 1.5 walks. That's the Faedo special. He's the OG walk guy that we put on. We leaned in early in the season. It wasn't out yet last time I checked. Maybe it is now, but under 1.5. If that comes out, depending on the juice, we'll either play it as a standalone or maybe parlay it with the Arias strikeout or something.
Yeah, the under in particular, Matt. Right? If I expressed a concern about workload. Also, this is something, it wasn't so much workload, it had to do with weather, but it's the same line of thinking of be consistent. And this, it's weird, if I'm worried about workload and you're trying to figure out to go over something or under something, lean with the under something, right? And I actually like that one. So, Jay, if we could pair those, I would do that too. If you want to go over 3.5 Ks with under 1.5 walk, the Fado special, I would go with that. Other than that, I think I'd probably leave it. I was checking the Toronto bullpen usage. I thought I saw Romano work a ton yesterday. He only threw 11 pitches. So I was thinking about the Detroit team total, the full game, to maybe cut some of the juice, but I don't think I trust that offense against the bullpen in Toronto. Anyway, so let's go with that one. Wait, Matt, just yes or no, does Faedo get the workload to strike out 12 J's? Probably not, right?
No.
I had to ask. You heard it here. Next up, Uncle Chuck, Charlie Morton on the bump for the Braves. I think I got like a split here, but it's a minus 110 split on both sides against the Rays. Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah.
We know there's a lot of swing and miss on both sides. Morton has walked a bunch of batters, but he's been a little bit better as of late. The swing and miss stuff is there. I mean, Morton is going to go. When the curve is working, he's working. Glasnow strikeout stuff's through the roof, Matty, 36% K. gosh, 18.5 swinging strike, 34 CSW, 39 whiff. I mean, that's pretty much everything. The Braves are not striking out right now. Kind of the final piece to making them the greatest offense we've ever seen in a short span. We already know they're first in everything. How about this, Matt? As a team, last 500 plate appearances, they have a 1,000 OPS, 311 batting average, 37 home runs, 164 WRC plus. As a team, they're an all-star, like a starting all-star. So as much as I like Glass now, I just feel like they're going to work them because they're not striking out. This one is maybe like a watch to me. I would also maybe want the under with all the pitching, but I can't go under with the Braves anymore. So again, I'm just leaving it alone.
I actually like the Rays F5 money line, and I'm writing it up. I wrote this in my article for the game day. If anyone wants to write it, I'm writing it, and I'm like doubting myself as I'm writing it because I'm like, I'm stating the facts for the readers of how good the Atlanta offense is, so I'm not misleading anyone. But my projections, though, I mean, Glasnow. As far as the surface stats, it looks like a close enough matchup between Morton and Glasnow. But when you really look behind the curtain, and if you watch baseball, Glasnow is vastly superior. So I want no part of being exposed to the Brave offense, even one out more than I have to. So, yeah, I'll take the F5 for Tampa Bay because I think they squeak this out. And then, it wouldn't surprise me to watch the Atlanta offense just completely turn it on in the second half. This is almost like one of those Tampa Bay F5 Atlanta full game money line bizarro bets if you want to go that way. But yeah, I do like Tampa Bay in the first 5 innings here. I don't like it giving away the half run. I just like it straight up.
Yeah, I hear you. That makes a lot of sense. Matt, that used to be my claim to fame. That was funny. The breakdown you just gave is how I used to do my F5s when I liked the pitching edge. But to be honest, this season in particular with the offense and maybe just getting stung like I haven't avoided the raindrops properly, I'm like avoiding the Rangers and I'm like avoiding the Braves. And again, it doesn't mean you can't beat them for 15 outs. So I think there's something there. Again, I'm a little bit worried about the strikeouts. If with you liking Glasnow, do you think he's a pop? I mean, he's got the stuff, but do you think he's in a K-12 Braves?
I mean, that's the thing with him is you can. It's not a good matchup though. So for like the total for the K leader, I think it's not a wasted bet, but we're trying to go for a little more a long shot bet here. So I don't think it's really worth putting the money on because you're not getting the value out of him. You probably should because of the matchup. They're like pricing him as if he has more of a chance. So yeah, I expect he could certainly K 9-10, but with the amount of interesting guys today, I don't know. if you're picking like 5 people, he's worth throwing in. Except it's I like you brought this up on the show. I like to pick players where if I hit once, it pays for my ticket, and that wouldn't be the case with Glasnow.
Yeah, I was actually checking Glasnow. We talk about this every week, Maddie, with the key thing. Again, you're also always very good at giving people not necessarily the back door, but sometimes there's another better perspective, and it's for the favorites on the K leaderboard. Make sure that you look for the alt prop because you're going to need 10 or 11 strikeouts to win this thing. And if you can get a equal or better price for 10 strikeouts, you should do that. Glasnow, not the case today. I have like 236 for 10K. So I would not be touching that. Although, that's always part of it. D-Rock, Taco Core, thank you so much, man. Matt, you and I have a lot of like simpatico followers that really dig the 1 + 1 = 3. All right, next up, Zach Wheeler. I know we're a big fan. -130 favorite on the road. I've been betting on the Phillies basically every day now after the offense woke up on the road against Sandy Alcantara, a 110 dog at home. Last year's Cy Young winner, not looking very good, Matt. I mean, the K's dropped down. Sierra up near 4.5. 12K minus BB. Just not what you'd expect. He has kept the ball down. This is Alcantara and limited hard contact. But it's just been a really rough go for him. It's just been a really rough go. He's been subject to these blow-up innings, and now Wheeler is really starting to get it turned on. I mean, he does all the stuff that I like, right? Big-time numbers on the stuff plus fastball. He's 5% walk rate. He induces chases. He wins in the zone. Like, pretty simply put, he's everything I like. So I actually bet the Phillies to win today. So unless Matt has something else, I'm going to go with the Phillies money line. I like Wheeler, but I don't know if he can get to the K prop because Miami is just really hard to strike out. I've had rough luck trying to K Miami before. They don't walk, but they don't K. They don't chase. So, Matt, talk to me about Phillies Marlins. I'm
not doing anything with the sides here. Both of the offenses, even though everyone in your brain thinks Philly's great, they're Miami's actually lockstep with them. They've been overperforming. Both of them are like meh versus righties. So I just stayed away from it just because I think I leaned Philly, but it just didn't meet the criteria I like. So I put out 20 bets a day. I left that one off. I love Wheeler under 1.5 walks. He's been like doing much better lately. He's usually a good sharp play for that. So I have Wheeler under 1.5 walks against this Marlins team. So that's the only thing I walked away from in this game.
Okay, and if that for people following along, I know we have some commuters that listen later on in the day. The Fado and Wheeler walks may be a decent combination. The two of those, if you're into the walk, props again. Matt's been very successful with those. Yeah, really low, actually. I'm surprised. I guess it's something you and I, we spoke about off air. It's hard to list a walk prop at one, right? The half, I'm saying.
Yeah, that's reserved for either Kirby or Greinke.
Yeah,
those are basically the only two guys.
Yeah. And they're just kind of stuck, right? The ball rate for Wheeler below 35, 5% walk. Him in particular, I think his walk rate greater than signing the ball right, because when Wheeler needs to, he's going to throw it, right? He throws it.
I'm waiting for books to take these away because there's certain ones like Jamie Barria. Anyone who follows me at Los Angeles Angels, he's a lock. I mean, he's a lock for his outs prop, but they cannot do anything besides 15.5. 14.5, you're taking the over. They're going to let him get, the coach is like, let him get through 5. He usually doesn't go beyond 5. So they can't really go above 15.5. So they didn't put it out last time. And they probably won't again because he's a guy who's locked in at 15, but they cannot profit at 14.5 or 15.5 because it's an easy over or under. But that's the thing. They're locked in at 1.5 for walks, but that means either they are taking away walks for everybody or they're not going to start just cherry picking people out. That's
that's what I think they might do.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work though with matchups.
Yeah. Well, again, Matt dropping the first dime of the show. That's the first feather in the cap is out prop critical number that 15, right? And the same thing too. Where I heard you talk about this, Matt, also the 17.5, right? To complete the 6 innings.
You want over 17.5. Don't want under 17.5.
Correct. And that's
you want under 18.5. You don't want the over 18.5. You're just it's like in football where you're betting in between the 3s and 7s. It's like a wasted half. Like
I don't think people understand that, Matt. Countless times I've seen people upset that the pitcher completed 6. If the guy's out there for 5 2/3, unless he's in like serious danger, right? 30 pitches in the inning, bases loaded, 3 walks in a row. They want him to finish that inning, right? Something I always talk about. You want to stay in line with the management, right? Just try and stay in line with them.
I wish I knew the pitcher. I bet it 2 days ago, I think. The line was 18.5. I put it out early. I told everyone to hammer it, and I had people asking. I went down to 17.5 at this. Do you like it at this price? I don't like it at any price. I mean, that's how stark it is between the 18.5 and 18.5. Love it. 17.5. I want it at no price. I'm not touching it.
Also, again, people see how I don't even know what you'd call that. I know Gorilla Monsoon would call it intestinal fortitude, right? But also the confidence and the willingness to say nay, right? Because that's another one people also have erroneous peg, Matt, is it's like something at any price. And it's like, no, you have, it's what you're talking about. You're a robust bettor. You're betting every day. You just no. Sometimes the answer is just no. And that's fine. And it should be. All right, next up, this one. I can't believe you bet this one. I really can't. I'm with you. I just can't believe that I can't believe you bet this one. It's Jameson Taillon and the Baby Bears. Those Cubs are going to meet the New York Yankees in the Bronx. Carlos Rodon is first. So first up, I would generally go, like I said, I generally attack pitchers off the IL. But I want to look at Taillon, who he has been awful. Maybe one of my bigger misses in fantasy. I know he's really late, so you're not like, I missed on like a 20 round pick or whatever. But I really thought Taillon was going to be a really good kind of innings eater. And he has a nearly 7 ERA, 1.5 whip, a 20% whiff rate. I mean, it just gets, the further you go, the worse it gets.
You're wondering why I bet this one, Sean?
No. But the thing is, for me, then it's just you bet the over, right? Because my assumption is
I didn't struggle.
And if you think the Yankees are going to beat, do you think the Yankees are going to beat up on Taillon? No, I got it. I was just surprised because I thought we had the combo where you're like, I like to watch him first because we don't know what he's going to got. Or
I did. We have a chat room we have a VIP chat that me and John are a part of, Fight Club. But we won't talk about it beyond that. But I just said, I just asked everyone who's going with Rodon today. Everyone's like, I don't know. And then me and Frank Emirate, anyone who make sure you follow Frank. We just decided, hell, we're going for it. Taillon. I mean, you already said all the words. So I mean, this isn't surfacing. Taillon sucks. for all the
Yes,
reasons John
yeah.
already stated. I don't need to reiterate them.
Wait,
Rodon was
so what do you want? Just clarify for people. What do you want?
F5 minus 5 F5 for the Yankees, because Rodon was dominant in his rehab. Now now he's going no further than 4 to 5 innings. 75, 80 pitches, I'm guessing. But my God, I'm taking him in the K leader thing today because I could see him striking out 12 in his short stint against this team. I could see it. I mean, because he's listed at long enough odds for me. I'm not
17-1 right now for the.
Yeah, I can see that. But again, if he goes 4 innings, get one more inning out of the Yankees pen, Taillon's probably behind already by a couple of runs there. I think that it's good. I mean, Rodon, again, looked very strong in his rehab. I think he had like a 0.85 ERA. Not that you give a crap about that in a rehab.
Right.
But again, he's looking good. He's coming fresh. This team can't score a ton of runs. The math worked for me. So yes, I usually like to avoid stuff like this, but because of the opponent and because I think that even, he can go out there and just kind of dominate them. I think I like it at -0.5. It's just, it works for me.
Yeah, I got you. Maybe, and again, you talk about the Mets sometimes and how it'll throw you off for betting. Yeah, I don't know. Yankees offense, they stink.
I got it -120, everyone, by the way. I just looked at -0.5 for -120.
The Yankees are so bad. They are bottom 5 in team WOBA against righties last 30. They're just so bad.
There's righties, and then there's righties, and then there's Taillon. He doesn't count.
Yeah, I know.
He's his own category. Like versus righties and versus Taillons.
He's his own category. Now, again, I think my lean would probably be the over, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of a cop-out. So, all right, let's keep that one in mind, people. Matt like the Yankees. I like the F5 over. I think we're going to leave this one. Although, you might be right about the K-prop leader. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think. I'm saying. I know for a fact, as you said earlier, you were going to bring up a guy like Faedo as your dark horse. If we're talking dark horses where Rodon is stacked, you're putting these things on people. We have no reason to think they're going to lead. But Rodon, you're telling me if Faedo won, even if you bet on it, you'd be like, what was I thinking? Yeah. I won, but why? If Rodon struck out 12, would it really shock anyone? No. You'd be like, wow, he's back, and everyone would be excited, but you wouldn't really be shocked. Matt, we're getting some people are asking in the chat about Rizzo. Again, I missed that big split.
Yes.
Taillon does not have an answer for lefties. Lefties batting .308 with a 1049 OPS, more than 3 homers per 9 against Rodon. So, Matt, was it home runs and ribbies? Was it?
I put him out. It was at -105, which no doubt has evaporated. But over only 1.5 home runs, hits, runs, RBIs for Rizzo, lefty versus right. A beautiful play. I mean, I would take that significantly higher, but it was 105 when I first saw it.
Okay, yeah, hits, runs, and ribbies. I like that one. Matt, could you address that quickly? Actually, it's not to put you on the spot at all because again, you've had a fantastic season. Really, something to be proud of. The two of us simultaneously seem to forget how to hit total base props, though.
Yeah,
these over 1.5 total bases have just been a conundrum for me sometimes. Like I'll go on crazy runs, and then sometimes I feel like I walk a lot.
Oh, and the walks on total bases, they're the worst. I love chasing low floors. For a while, I was chasing half a total base. I'm like, all right, you only got to get it. But then, that's basically one hit. But home HRRs, hits, runs, RBIs. You can get sacrifice fly in. You can sacrifice fly someone in yourself. Anything clears. I love taking the half HRRs. I mean, just scroll, just find them. If you have an odds searching app, that's probably the fastest way. Otherwise, just go to DK because they always have them, and just search it for every single game and look for the halves. Today, I have out a parlay. It's Brett Beatty, who again may or may not play because he's banged up, but again, DK actually takes him out.
Wait, I'm sorry, Matt, not to cut you off. These are one half
HRR.
Jeez. See,
and you search too. And I got Beatty, Will Benson, and Nick Prado. Wow. All with decent matchups. Benson is versus Burns.
Dude, Prado leads off sometimes.
Yeah, but plus 320. And all they got to do is get each one between a hit, run, and RBI. They just got to get one.
Wow.
Each.
All right. So again, Maddie, I put a pretty big label on you the other week during the show that you're like a thought leader in this space. Yeah. And part of it is the due diligence to go dig this stuff and really hit it. I'm telling you, man, I think that's why the books are going to have a hard time keeping up with you. Me, I actually have left my print on the overall betting market at large, my F5 stuff, because books have totally changed how they treat those. When I was kind of a part of that revolution, but I didn't keep going. And I guess I moved into the F5 team totals, like you mentioned, those they booked them so soft that they put them out early. It's almost like the first person to bet them moves the line 50 cents. The second person to bet it moves it to 2.5. They even have become very hard to post. If you notice, I kind of stopped posting. So, all right, yeah, I like all the lefty calls. I like the Rizzo call. I like the HR call on Rizzo a lot. Next up,
one thing, just important thing for everyone listening, everyone live, everyone listening at home, hitting props. Do not do them on FanDuel. I've had a big conversation with people about this. If you're betting early, because I tend to, I'm putting out picks for an audience. It's usually a smart thing to wait closer to the game, maybe for lineups for certain things. But again, I like to jump on odds early too.
Yeah.
I'm betting early. If you put in a hitter prop on DK or pretty much anywhere else, and they're not in the starting lineup, void. If you do it on FanDuel, it does not void. If they pinch hit in the 8th and strike out, you are done. And they will cash against you. So do not do
hold on to that point. Oh, but they have to play. Okay, they still have to make an appearance.
Yes, but if they pinch hit, if they pinch hit and get an intentional walk,
correct,
you're done.
DK, you have to start. You
DK pretty much. DK points bet. Everywhere else, pretty much they void if you do not start. FanDuel, they will completely.
But now, does the under work also? Could we bet the under on the most prominent pinch hitters in the game?
You could. No, but pinch hitters sometimes aren't listed though.
No, but we know for a fact. Yeah, but the same way that you're jumping on odds to be early, Matt, you and I, if we put a half an hour into it, we could figure out the Giants, for example.
You could. I tried telling someone like Beatty, for example, if you just wanted to put out some unders on him. He's banged up, but he's listed. And you want to put out a feeler there on an under, but not that I want to. But use a different player because I'm already picking him to actually do something positive. But yeah, if you think someone's banged up and they may not play, you could theoretically put something out and they pinch hit and under. But that's a tricky game to play, and I don't even want to bother wasting the freaking time on it. But yeah, theoretically you could.
All right, next up, this one's the easiest on the board for me. Could not have less interest in a game than as Cody Bradford pitching against Trevor Williams, Texas against Washington. Again, I like Washington in spots that I think they could do some work. They've been a little disappointing on offense, and I don't like to go up against Texas. Neither one of these pitchers really is strikeout stuff. Bradford, from what I understand, is not going to open. They are going to try and give him a whirl. Not that I think it's going to matter because Washington doesn't strike out. And I can't pay minus 170 for Cody Bradford, so I'm just going to leave. I really have no interest in this.
I got nothing in this game whatsoever.
No interest at all.
I'm stupid.
Let me ask you a question. I was surprised, and this is part of the F5 team total thing I was mentioning now. I think Washington got posted at 2.5. And I was like, now you're posting bad teams at 2.5. It's ridiculous. Now they're tempting us to kind of go under. Matt, in this environment, it's difficult. It's just difficult to go under. Yeah. So next up, that's what we need sometimes. Not spend so much time on the garbage games that and after 10 minutes of bad analysis, I'm not betting that. Next up, Daniel Lynch is back. God, I don't know why I've always liked
Daniel Lynch is back.
I've always liked Daniel Lynch. I don't know why. Seriously, every time he has a good start, I'm like, people don't realize this is it. This is it. The Royals have not developed a pitcher seemingly in a decade. They're plus 155 dogs on the road against Savali and the Guardians. Matt, if I told you I have bet the Guardians run line I just bet against the Royals on the run line every single night, and it seems to cash. Because their starter stinks. So if Lynch doesn't stink, you have the offense. The offense stinks. Worst offense in the league right now, 221 team batting average. They have a 66 WRC plus. And then if the first two phases of the game doesn't fail, well, the bullpen most certainly will. They have a 7.25 ERA the last 43 2/3. That's 2 weeks. So, I wanted to just answer quick. Somebody was asking about the 3 best and 3 worst bullpens, just so I get to it. The 3 best are probably Yankees, San Francisco, and maybe Cleveland, Atlanta is there. If we're looking in a more short-term frame, the Philadelphia bullpen has been absurdly good. It's too good to believe. Man, I don't know if you've even seen this. Philadelphia bullpen lasts 39 innings. They have a .47 ERA.
I can actually add something interesting onto that. When people are looking, because we tried to make it a little more popular, the strikeout props, especially the unders for juice reducers like Keeper Ruiz, Jeff McNeil, Luis
Right,
Arias,
right.
whatever.
Juice reducers. I like that.
Well, yeah, that's why anything like above 150, I like. Sometimes I'll pair them up. But people usually just look at the stats or they think of it in terms of just the starting pitcher because there's too many names in a bullpen to think about. Be on the lookout for like teams like the Phillies because your batter is going to get 2 at bats against them in like a high strikeout bullpen. You may want to avoid that. Like the other day, I was trying to pick between Arias, who does strike out time to time, and Ruiz, and I avoided Arias because he's like facing Philly, and I was like, I don't want Kimbrel to just K this guy in the 9th, and screw me. That was just a quick example. Obviously, Arias doesn't strike out very often, but yeah, remember stuff like the bullpen when you're doing like the under K stuff because you'll be like, oh, Adam Wainwright's starting, and then all of a sudden, someone will come in and strike him out after. Not that the Cardinals are a good job, but you know what I mean, like.
God, that's really funny, Matt. For all the talking that we do, I can't believe that didn't come up.
Yeah.
So I had a brief like flirtation process with under strikeouts, but of course, now I think I realize why you ended up where you did. You ended up with hitters. It's going to sound funny. You ended up going under on guys that don't actually strike out, and I was looking for. And I don't know if you noticed, I hit a couple right off the bat, so I felt like I might have been onto something. Finding players that have high strikeout rates in general. Have not
that are going against bad strikeout pitchers.
Right. And going up against good players. So like Brandon Marsh was there and like I had Kepler one day. But the problem is I made that mistake that you just mentioned. And I had 3 guys in a row get K'd after the 8th inning. And you realize that facing the bullpen is a completely different animal. It really is. Yeah. And even bad bullpens, sometimes guys have big strikeout stuff. Right. That's kind of the whole thing, right? They either KU or they miss and you hit a home run. So like, and not saying often, but I think you want to avoid bad hitters. You want to avoid bad hitters.
You got to pick your spots.
Yeah. Well, again, I was seeing, Brandon Marsh was up against, and it was somebody bad. Like let's quote Miles Michaelis, I think it was for St. Louis.
Yeah.
And it was like plus 235 to not strike out. He hadn't struck out in 25 plate appearances. I hit it the first day. And you know what? I actually missed it the second day. But so what? If you hit a plus 285 every other day, you'll be a rich man. I didn't keep going to the well. He's been striking out since. But just to give people an idea of how even people like yourself and I, Matt, we have routines, but we're also kind of open and we're looking around to look for the next spot. Again, that's something I really not only noticed of you that you deserve kind of praise for, but I've kind of learned from you now. Dude, I can be very myopic. F5s totals, F5s, and then I don't look at anything else. I'm like, wait, there are walk props?
And I didn't know that. Just to leave something else with someone before we move on. I know we have to move on.
Yeah, it's okay.
Do not like lock yourself into the popular ones too. Just go into like opposite thinking, like, going with a strikeout hitter that's not going to strike out. 2.5s are your friend.
Go under the 2.5, you're saying?
Walks and strikeouts. I bet Yuri Perez under 2.5 walks. Does he walk a ton of people? Sure. He was going against a team that doesn't walk a ton. I bet under 2.5. He only walked 2. I cash. You can bet tons of strikeout hitters under 2.5 strikeouts. There's tons of guys on was it Nick Castellanos and Josh Young for a while. I rode them forever under like 2.5 strikeouts or 1.5 strikeouts.
Those are strikeout guys.
Yeah,
they really get listed for 3 strikeouts in a game. That's a
lot.
No.
Sometimes it depends.
Okay,
usually,
that's a lot.
Sometimes they're at 1.5, or some pitchers like again, Yuri Perez is like listed at 2.5.
Gotcha.
You'll get like certain people listed there. You just got to look at the matchup. So yeah, keep an eye on all of them. Like
I'm laughing because I know you've tweeted this kind of stuff before.
Yeah,
like when our wives see us like celebrating a pop up. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I have this hitter. When he pops up, I'm like, yes.
Yes. This was great. Domingo Germán was pitching his no-hitter, and he's down to his last batter, and everyone's watching it, looking for history. And I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat. He gets the no-hitter. I'm screaming, yeah. My wife's like, do you like him? No, Tony Kemp's on deck. And I bet the under 1K. He's not going to bat.
I'm telling you, or like, they still haven't really understood why I'm so irrationally excited about the 5th inning, right? They just don't understand. Like the 5th inning kind of comes and goes in the TV, and that's it. After 5, it's 1, and that's it. 1-1 after 5, and then I'm like, yes. It's so. But again, that's just the life of the gambler. So, right, Lynch and Savali had the cover. You know what I meant to ask you? Just because it's a theoretical, a guy like Savali. So like Kansas City strikes out. Savali's not really a strikeout guy.
Under 1.5 walks.
Will you weigh the hitter? Will you weigh the batters enough to throw? Like, I would never really think of Savali as a guy that I'd be looking for a daily K leader from.
Yeah.
So if a pitcher is too contact oriented, do you just let him go?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I will bet low gates, not K prop guys, but like the other Zach Greinke. I failed, by the way. This is a losing bet, but I still love it and I do it again. Zach Greinke one day was listed at like 1.5 strikeouts.
Well, you got to go over.
I'm like, it was again, and it was a bad matchup too. It was a bad matchup. Like it was against the Diamondbacks or something, like, but it was like 1.5 strikeouts. I'm looking like he gets 2 strikeouts, like, consistently, or 3. But yeah, I didn't get it.
We've been doing so much theory, but Matt, that's what I was hoping when I have you. What about the other flip? Now I have to flip it on you. I have also gotten burned going under the 3.5 Ks on what I think of as low strikeout pitchers.
Yeah, I don't
only to realize that like, almost every 4K seems like you can almost walk into it.
It's too. I always say I have criteria. Maybe I'll freaking print a free book. Everyone can read them. I have certain things where if they happen, I just don't bet. I do not bet under low gates. I do not bet over high ones. Like Glass now, I think he's listed at like 8.5 strikeouts or something crazy, 7.5. I'm not doing that. I don't like betting over high totals like that. That's why I don't bet on Ohtani a ton in the beginning of the season where he's like listed at like 7, 8.5. Like I don't like betting over on though. I don't like betting under 3.5 because you need anything can happen and you have a bad umpire and you lose the low and you need so much to happen to get the high. So I literally just eliminate them regardless of value. I mean, I may miss out on some wins, but again, it works for me. So yeah, under 3.5, no.
Yeah, that's
over
great.
7.5. No, unless I'm laddering someone like Hunter Brown today.
Yeah, that's.
I got the 5.5, the 6.5, the 7. I'll do that.
Right.
But then you're paring that down 1/2, 25 units.
My own lessons in a different package, and I'm like, because I talk about this with totals. Like I don't never going to go over 11.5 on a game total, and I don't go under. Let's say when they post F5s 3.5s, I just don't go under 3.5. I don't care who it is. I don't care.
Oh, you know me. I'm a baby. You make money. I'm sorry, on the F5 like under 4s and 4. I can't. I'm a baby.
No, I like under 4.5. I don't go under 4. I'm afraid of 4.
Or under 4.5. Like there's plenty of them, but I avoid them personally.
Oh, that one. Okay, that's funny. That I will go to.
See, I'd rather go like under 6.5 in a bad matchup because that's harder to get to than under 4.5. Just because a bloop and a blast. It's baseball, like so. It's just one of those things for me where I just did my own research and I found that the work I put into doing these and how much I would maybe barely make a little over sometimes. They're just not worth it for me. I just put my work into something else. Again, I know you're successful with it, but it's just one of those things.
When the model calls for that's kind of why I do the modeling. That it forces me to bet the things that I believe in, right? Because I built the thing. All right, next up. Oakland and Louis Funky Cold Medina on the road against the Red Laundry and Brennan Bernardino. He's going to open for them. I struggle to model openers because the Boston bullpen is not very good. So I kind of had this one turn up as a Boston full game cover, but I end up backing away from it. My question to you is, Matt, because I know that you're into pricing and we know how variant this is. Is this one of the times we should be going after Oakland when they're listed at plus 200?
No.
They're really bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, I went after Oakland one game because I remember it was James Caprillion versus Chris Bassett. And Caprillion was better than Bassett over the last month and a half. So the Oakland bullpen had actually been better over the last 14 days than Toronto. So I had a lot of things going for me for that in particular. But yeah, here you don't have that with Brennan Bernardino. One thing I do like is a weird one. Talk about low gate. We were just talking about Luis Medina over 3.5 strikeouts. You look at Boston does okay versus righties, but again, they strike out enough. Medina's had four strikeouts in 8 of his last 9 in all but 2 of his games this year. And 3 of those games where he's reached that mark were against Cleveland, Houston,
I'll take that one, Jay.
and Arizona. I mean, those are 3 teams that are much harder to strike out than Boston. So 3.5.
Boston strikes out a lot right now.
Yeah, give it to them. Well, they strike out a lot. They do a lot better versus righties, but again, not good enough to avoid this. They're not as good as those 3 teams I mentioned. So yeah, Medina over 3.5. That's a great bet.
I'm going to get into the low bars. I want to start using that. I like that. All right, next up, Matt. There's no way I'm going to try and finish this. I'm going to.
All right, we'll hurry it up.
Luis Castillo and Hunter Brown. You know what I mean? I don't know. People like look for edges in these games. And this, I don't know, maybe this is when the fan in me comes out. I kind of want to watch this one. I don't know. I know you're on some strikeout stuff, and I think that's okay. I think the kind of bet I can get down on when it's ace versus ace kind of stuff. Good team and good team that might have some playoff feel, right?
Yeah.
We're starting to get that. This one I just have like just as close as could be. Algo has the Mariners out. The Mariners has the Astros outlasted him. So I basically have it tied through 5, and then Houston kind of outlasting them by a bit through 9, but not enough for me to touch anything.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Do you like the strikeout stuff here?
Yeah, the game is too close to call. It'll be entertaining. I'll watch it for sure. I love Hunter Brown. Seattle strike out a lot. This is a weird ladder. It isn't one of those ones where they posted on FanDuel. I'm taking this 5+, 6+, 7+. I got these at different times, and it just kind of worked out in a different books, and it worked out this way. But you can do it like a normal person.
Jay, bring up the base. I think we want the base one.
I got Hunter Brown over 5.5 Ks. I got that at minus 130 at DK. DraftKings at first, and then it went up to 6.5 on FanDuel, and they put that at plus 125. I'm like, oh, I like that too, so I took it. And then I just went and looked at what the 8+ was, and it was at 223. I'm like, sweet. So I got 5.5, 6.5, and basically the 7.5 at minus 130, plus 125, and plus 223.
So that's that was the incidental ladder.
Yes. Yeah, I built it out of order, and then once I took the second leg, I just decided to take the third leg.
Now, the other side of it, it's funny. You and I, we kind of reverse engineered this a bit in that chat you were mentioning, right? When people mentioned Andrew Abbott and thinking he was had a perfect lineup to be a quote unquote like dark horse for this ticket. And then we went and looked and he was the top, he was the top of the board. So what did you and I do when you go and look and you realize, well, Milwaukee is the top and striking out or whatever. Then I was splitting times and you realize that number really drops. So it gives you an idea of how the books are viewing these things.
Books are aware of narratives. Lefty versus Milwaukee. They know this by now. They're juicing them. They've been juicing them. So I think that's a big thing.
It hasn't been as like extreme as the market makes it sound.
No. But people will put money on it all the same.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I was saying, in fact, when the number is so bad to start, this happens with something like the Oakland bullpen.
Yeah.
Right. When the Oakland bullpen comes out and they have a 10 ERA through their first 80 innings, it takes a long time to smooth that out. So all of a sudden you're looking to go, well, the Oakland bullpen has a 5.5 ERA over the season. Well, but it was. You understand what I mean? It was.
By the way, if Abbott strikes out 15, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm just not paying for it as the K leader for the day because he's listed as the favorite. I mean, the one thing he does go deep into games. I actually have his over 17.5 outs prop for today because he actually goes deep pretty well, which is another reason to kind of like his Ks. But again, at his price, it's not very advantageous.
Okay, let's do the next one. This one I thought I liked this. I thought I liked the side, but the pricing didn't really match up. It's Cole Irvin and the Baltimore Orioles. Irvin's been rough against. I love Bailey Ober and the Twins. I was surprised only minus 150. It was a little bit better earlier on. Maybe I need to think about the F5 cover.
Yeah, this is a bit of a mismatch.
Yeah, not only a mismatch, I'm kind of squinting at the prices here because, it moved to minus one.
I have the F5 cover at minus 118 on FanDuel. I don't know where it sits now.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. You know what? Let's jump on that, Jay, because we can get like a minus 120. So that's pretty much the long and short of it is. Cole has been really brutal, and Ober's been fantastic, and the Baltimore offense they're kind of starting to heat up a little bit, but they've just been kind of bad. But they really are starting to heat up a little bit. So if they, I think that's one of the teams we have to keep an eye on the next couple days, the next week or so, because of all the talent they have. They could take off. Right now, it's not really happening. The power stroke has not really been there. They're putting the ball on the ground. They're not hitting it hard. The Twins are not very good. The Twins are not very good, period. So whenever I kind of bet on the Twins, you're hoping for you're hoping not to give up more than 1 or 2, right? So, all right, I'm with you. Let's get Minnesota to cover it. Last question. You think Ober has a chance at the K props, the K lead?
No, actually, that's risky. I know a lot of popular projection systems like his under on his Ks in general, so I'm staying away. Okay. And also a popular prop for him is usually under 1.5 walks, but Baltimore tends to walk a lot. So I'm staying away on that. I do like Ober for his over against 17.5 magic number outs. Got that at minus 115.
Bailey over? Huh? We're here every Friday, people. We're here every Friday, man. Wow.
So I think I like the over more because I think that they I don't think they're going to strike out a ton. Okay. I think that they're going to put some balls in play, which I think will hopefully, if Minnesota's fielding, should get him to the 18 outs, which is something he consistently does. So I like that.
That's part of what I was talking about. I mentioned looking out for Baltimore to pick it up. One of the things I always look for in trend indication with team offenses is disciplinary stuff. Like you mentioned, Baltimore K rate as a team down at 20%, walk rate up at 10, single digit swing and strike, 30% chase, less 500 PA. So Baltimore very disciplined. For anybody on the video side of this, rate, review, and subscribe. Right, audio only people, please hit the 5-star review. And if you're looking up while Jay's scrolling along that awesome app we're using is betstamp.app/call to the pen. You can check us out. You can follow along with our bets and tail if you want. But I think it's more about shopping. Again, Matt, I know I brought you on for baseball, but I know, tell me BetStamp is not awesome. Like sometimes things just kind of sell themselves. It's so convenient. Also, I think one thing I like about it is it keeps me from posting like, listen, we all know prices are not standardized, and sometimes there could be the weak antelope. And as much as a bettor, you need to find and prey on the weak antelope. If you're printing for subs and follows and stuff, you can't always pick the one weird one because other people want to have access to it. So I like that BetStamp shows you the entire menu. And one thing I've also mentioned is it gives you an idea of directionality, right? If we know that a game opened at F5:04 at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 10:30, half of them are 4.5s.
Yep.
You have an idea of which way the market is going, and then to jump on that 4, right? It adds more value. So again, betstamp.app. I hate to shill, but it's been really helpful.
No, it's invaluable. Everyone should be using
agreed.
it. I do pick on the weak antelope, and I do post the weak antelope, but I do my best to anyone ever has any questions about if a line moves. If you see a bet I put and it's moved and you want to know if it's still play, reach out to me. I answer all questions. But one thing is I always put, like today, the 1.5 Detroit team total, F5 team total. I even put over 1.5 team total. This has moved to 2.5. I would not bet. I'll put a note. Abbott over at 17.5 outs. I had a -120. I put, sadly, this has jumped to 175. Like I'll let you know that, like, sorry. Yeah. But that's what the leans are for too.
Those are particularly tough to post for people, the F5s team totals, because they so easily move up a full run, right? We're not really used to that. Generally, totals move in halves, and that way you can kind of rationalize, well, I could still get a push on the 8. You know what? Maybe I would still take that if I needed the 8 to score and I believe in it. That's different than needing 2 or needing 3. That's a whole different ball game, and I'm not sure that the price is moved proportionally, right? Where I almost like the juice, and that's me, right? I normally like the juice on a 1.5 more than I want a +105 on 2.5. But all right, let's move it up. I think Minnesota beats up on Baltimore, at least in the beginning. Next up, Jordan Montgomery, who I know you like today against Dylan. Stop, cease, and desist. I won't bury the lead. I actually have this one posted as an under today. Both of these guys have been really good. We both know they have, well, Cease at least, we know he's got swing and miss stuff. Montgomery's had it come along. Montgomery has been phenomenal. I also post, it's like Eno's thing. It's not last 30 days specifically. I hear you talk. I go a little bit more. I'm looking for like in between 400 and 500 pitches. So I'm kind of looking for like, let's call it 6 or 7 starts. Montgomery's been phenomenal. Cease also has been getting it going. So I like both of these pitchers today. Both offenses have also been kind of weak, and they are both bottom 5 in swing strike rate. They're both bottom 8 in zone contact rate. They're both bottom 5 in ground ball rates. So I think even if St. Louis and Chicago gets on, I think they're pretty much smoked. As far as the strikeout stuff goes, Chicago is really, really bad. They're also terrible against lefties. You had mentioned Montgomery. You like Montgomery today, Maddie?
This is an interesting game because in my leans, which are usually just the first look at my projections, I posted the Chicago F5 because that's what my number said. But sometimes I'll go against my own numbers because I'll dive deeper in each game, and then all of a sudden I'm like, no, I really like Montgomery to completely shut down the White Sox.
Dude. Yeah, he's been very good.
I have his over 5.5 strikeouts. I got a +105. Love that. I actually would throw him as a dart throw for the K leader because again, he can go deeper into games too. I got him at 16.5 outs. Thank you for the free out. I said 17 is the magic number. If you want to give me the over 16.5, I'll obviously take that, and -105 too. Those look like a couple of really safe plays to me. Yeah. Montgomery. I think Cease is a little harder to bet on, only because St. Louis is a little more dangerous and he does walk people. So I just went with Montgomery in this one. His gate is lower. There's less expectations out of Montgomery than there are for Cease, obviously. Montgomery is my dude today. I like that. I'm not going with the Cardinals.
Plus money, I'll take that. I like that better than I like the under, I think. So Montgomery, if Montgomery is 5, I don't think if he's at 6 or above, I don't want to go there. But I'll go above 5.5 for plus money on Montgomery for absolutely. Man, is that a part of it? Man, you just
is it still at plus 100?
You just kind of shot. Yeah, we love that. Let's take the even money on Montgomery.
Oh, plus 110.
Yeah, man, you're very thorough with the due diligence shopping through the menus. DK does a good job of allowing you to kind of look at a lot of it at once. I've noticed some books you have to click through and then search, and it becomes such a nightmare that it's almost discouraging. Where I guess you're right. Like you said, even those hit and run RBI things, DK puts them all on one page, and they're all open, expanded menus, and you could just Control F or just page down, just search and search. So I got a hat tip you, man, because your diligence really pops through. I don't know how we're going to finish on time.
Hey, to save you time, other than the Abbott over and Will Benson as part of my over half HRR, I got no bets the rest of the way, so I can just give me my one sentence. My one sentence takes.
Okay, so I really like Abbott. I mean, he is awesome. And right, we already mentioned Milwaukee and the lefty stuff, although, and again, this is part of the moving averages, waka thing. I always have things time split, but I don't just time split them. You kind of compare them, and it's part of charting for technical analysis and trading. Milwaukee, the WOBA against lefties last 30 is up at 337. It's like a well above average. Even the expected WOBA is up at 320, which is above average. They're walking a lot and stuff. So I'm not sure if I'm necessarily buying it the way other people are. Abbott has to go. So I was going to say Abbott's got to go in the bucket, but for like 6-1, he feels like a guy that his old K prop would probably supersede the thing on the daily K. So if you like Abbott to win it all, I think you should go to the alt prop. Other than that, I don't really know where I'm at on this one. I think I'm done betting against Cincinnati, and I got to give it up. I've been banging on this drum forever, and the price won't move. So apparently I don't move futures markets. Cincinnati's still like 3-1 or 4-1 to make the playoffs right now, like win the division. It's really weird. It's really kind of weird. The books are not buying Cincinnati, or the public is not buying it. So I guess Abbott will probably have it over Burns. I like Corbin Burns. I don't know. I guess it's okay. Next up, it's old man Rich Hill, long in the tooth on the bump for the Buccos, plus 165 dogs against Zach Gallen in the desert. Matty, I'm surprised. You know where I thought you'd be on a cover here, though I do notice
the pricing just wasn't there for me.
Yeah, you know what I wanted to ask you about specifically, because I notice I make this pivot where a lot of times I notice that you don't, which is first of all, the F5 run line's at minus 130. Which I actually thought would be a bit heavier. Is that outside your purview? I feel like we could snack on that. And if not, I see that you don't go to the full game run line. Is that just a we hate bullpen thing? Because sometimes they add a buck to the price, and it makes
no. I do. Yesterday, I had the Cleveland run line yesterday.
Oh, we did have that. Yeah.
I'll definitely do it.
Okay. What about 130 on this F5?
I feel like that moved. Because the last time I looked, I feel like that was higher.
I think it was 150 this morning.
Yes, I thought it was 150 this morning. At 130, yes, I'd be interested. I believe.
Jay, let's take the first 5 cover for Arizona.
Yeah, I believe it was much higher. Why would that come down? People are hammering on Rich Hill.
People have money coming in on. Let's see if we can figure. I don't know, man. The Pittsburgh stuff is ugly. Oh man, the Pittsburgh stuff is ugly. Okay. I think I see it. Again, if you're interested, where I kind of draw this stuff from, I'm very far from smart. Follow me on Twitter, John Laghezza. The pin tweet will take you to Sharpener link. That Google Doc thing is open. I split data. I have some expected stats also. Arizona, pretty bad against lefties last 30 days. WOBA down to 291.
And they'll be without Corbin Carroll also gone.
At 301. And Corbin, dude, I'm worried his season's finished. I'm worried his season's finished. That reminded me of the Tatis.
It reminded me of Conforto. Yeah.
Oh, you wrote that. That's even worse. Oh, that's even worse. He disappeared forever after that happened. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that would be awful. Well, yeah, sorry. I still like it. Again, one hitter doesn't normally swing it that much for me because I think Gallen's going to mow him down. And I do tend to like the Arizona offense a lot, regardless of the split. Give it to me. Next up, your boy, Justin Verlander. I think we both posted this one also, is on the bump in the perfect weather against Yu Darvish. The Mets are what the Mets are. But I also saw that I think they're the only team under 500 with a positive run differential. The Mets are not nearly as bad as the record says, and I think they're going to be fine. Believe it or not, I think the Mets are fine. Verlander is looking pretty darn good as of late, and that's kind of what we're looking for. Some of the disciplinary stuff is a bit unnerving. He's not getting ahead. He's kind of losing in the zone. But Darvish has been wild also. I kind of had my model has the Mets to win this one. But as I look at the Darvish stuff, I'm getting a little nervous. Talk to me, Matty. Mets and
I
Padres.
actually had originally was looking for the Mets money line, but then I remembered my rule of don't bet on the Mets. I'll be happier. But yeah, again, Darvish hasn't been good. He's actually been he hasn't been very good this year at all. Both bullpens have been shaky as late. So I was going to go with the Mets money line, but I decided to back away completely. The only bet I actually do have a bet in this game. I got Manny Machado over 1.5 total bases.
Okay.
Again, this is a thing where BVP, batter versus pitcher data, is not good. You kind of have to like maybe throw out what a hitter has done against a pitcher in their career if they're not the same pitcher or hitter that you are facing now. Sometimes the hitter is better or worse, pitcher is better or worse. So Machado's numbers versus Verlander straight up don't look that impressive. Machado has been fantastic at home. Verlander brutal on the road. His fastball is getting murdered.
Yeah.
Way over a 500 expecting slugging percentage. We know Verlander likes to give up big hits and home runs. So I do have Machado at a nice price for the plus 1.5 total bases. But overall here, I lean Mets. But overall, I'm letting it go. They've actually, again, this is more of a cosmic thing. The Mets have had troubles with Darvish. They did get to him the last time they faced him, but he has been their kryptonite in the past.
Yeah, well, Fire Sports asking about the Nerfy and the first half under. First half under, I could see the Nerfy. I'd be afraid, right? If you're worried, if you have Machado,
I believe that was for a game a while ago.
Oh, my bad. Oh, sorry about that, Fire Sports. He's so good at interacting. Always trying to include him in the conversation. He was saying before that we listen, and that's where the K-Leader stuff came from. Yeah, of course. Like I'm fully malleable. I'm always listening to the crowd. Next up, Matt. This one I didn't have any plays, but I wanted to ask about the K-Leader prop. So, hold on, maybe we should, because it's Griffin Canning plus 140, dog on the road against Tony Gonsolin, who 3.69 ERA, 111 whip. Every single earned run indicator is above 5. But with Trout down, the Angels offense takes a step back. I kind of like Canning. I hate going up against the Dodgers, so I did pull back on my F5 play. I thought I liked the F5 Angels at first. I'm more curious about if you think Canning, who has some nice, the disciplinary bucket is pretty strong. 13 swing and strike, 30 CSW, 29 whiff. Those are the things we look for. 34 O swing. He's 65-1 to be the K leader. The Dodgers offense, though, they don't really K. They take their walks. They don't really chase. That doesn't mean a team can't strike out 10 times in a game. I think I'm more attracted to the price. You think, is Canning viable, or is the Dodgers almost a non-starter in this format?
I think it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
I mean, if Canning came away with 10 Ks in this game, I would be mind blown. I think it's more likely we see 4 home runs out of one player than see Canning strike out 10.
Oh my gosh.
I'll put my money. I mean, how much money for a Mookie Betts cycle? I think that'll be a better investment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta call you on this one. I gotta call.
Well, yeah, I'm not serious with that.
But hold on. How many strikeouts did Griffin Canning have in his last game against Arizona, Matt? He struck out 9 Diamondbacks in 6
Hey, I
innings.
just said that off the top of my head.
He struck out 9 Diamondbacks, so at 65-1, he's not a pop for $10.
He is. He ain't.
Brian Rose is on it. I know.
He ain't doing it. I don't know. Well, hey, everybody.
I'm putting him in the bucket. That's
put
it. Griffin Canning, you winged lion, you go in the bucket. Even though Matt says we're lighting that dollar on fire. Last one. I honestly I couldn't find this game listed anywhere. Oh, you know what's funny? It just came up. I got a little factoid for you.
Oh, what's the over-under, like 17?
I actually it's low.
This is in San Francisco. Sorry.
Yeah, it's low. It's 4. I see 4.5 on the F5. I got 8. Wow, 8.5. Matt, can we just go automatically over 8.5 in this game?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go auto over 8.5 in this game because we got to hustle up. But that one made perfect sense. It ends up, it's Austin Gomber against, I just learned this. Ross Stripling's real name is Thomas. I did not know that. I use a offshore book, and to make it difficult to scrape data, they use birth names. It's always kind of interesting to see that. I'm like, who is Donald Greinke? Who? And Hunter Green is actually Christian Green. So I kind of learned some of these weird ones. Bailey Ober's John Ober. Bailey's John Ober. And Yeah, Ross Stripling is Thomas. I wouldn't really want to back either of these teams. Both of these pitchers kind of stink. You'd be lucky if you get Stripling for more than 3 innings. He's had a 6.5 ERA as it is. Gomber has a 6.6 ERA. They both have a 1.5 whip. This is really bad. They both have a 6.25 expected ERA. I mean, this is just the worst thing you've ever seen. 43% hard hit rates, minimum 10% barrel, minimum 2 home run per 9. How is this line to 8.5, Matt? I have no clue. This is absolutely closing at 9.
I'm calling a 7-4 score.
All right, this one's absolutely closing at 9. Let's wrap this one up. Jay, scroll through our plays. Matt, thank you so much. You bailed me out at the last second. Our guest, Matt Stryker. Okay. He might be back here next week, but, big shotties. We never know what's going to happen. So, video people, please head on over. Scan to the end if you want to see the ticket. Jay, scroll through. Our K bucket is not as robust as it has been in the past, but maybe that's okay. And you know what? All things considered, since it's not, maybe it's okay to put a favorite in there. I've got Carlos Rodon. I've got Jordan Montgomery. And Griffin Canning. That's it. Matt, you have anybody you want to add? And then I was thinking about, I wonder if since we only have 3 people, should we put an Andrew Abbott 6-1 in there?
I would throw Hunter Brown in there.
Okay, let's go Brown. That Brown is his pick. Right, I forgot you were heavy on the case. Right. Okay, so you know what? If we have 4, I don't want to go to the 6-1. Again, I'd rather play Abbott in the prop market. I'm trying to bring it up. All stuff can be a pain to find a little bit, but I feel like Abbott, I don't think has the shine that what we talk about, like Glasnow, right? So Glasnow, his props are going to be crazy. And man, Andrew Abbott's only plus 240 for 10 strikeouts on my books. Like, yikes, I wouldn't do that either. So all right, forget him. If he gets it, he gets it. But let's add Brown for Maddie. We'll put $1 on each, everybody. And hopefully we'll see you at the ticket window. Matt, promote your stuff on the way out the door. All kidding aside, everybody. Matt is the hottest damn MLB bettor in the freaking country right now. I'm telling you, just going near him, it rubbed off on me, and I'm on absolute fire right now myself. But just you're a white hot fuego, Matt. Doing it your own way. You did it your way, and I love it, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, if anyone wants to follow me on Twitter, MATTWI77IMS. On the fake news social media thing, Threads. I'm over there. I won't see your comments, but I post stuff over there. And there's a link to Discord. I did a new one there.
Look for the never-ending story gifs.
And you can find my work over on thegameday.com.
Yeah, it's excellent, man.
Tuesday through Friday, I do best bets. Monday through Friday, Nerfy. But again, I'll be upfront about this. I'm not betting Nerfy the rest of the season. I just don't like it. Yeah. I put out my advice, and I'll tell you what I think. The money says, but man, I hate high variance, and that's what that is. As if I don't know if you've seen this. The new hot thing on one of the bigger Discords out there is first. Have you seen this? That's the new thing now. Guys hitting on first pitch results. And you can get all types of stuff. Like you get like 65 to 1 on an extra base hit on the first pitch, and it's like now that's got people sucked in. But if it's a ball, that's it. It's like minus 105 for a ball, whatever. It's also done. So follow us up on Twitter. We're going to be hitting it. Matt has a huge and really very potentially profitable prop ticket. Say that 3 times fast. Coming up. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Again, thanks so much, Matt, for bailing me out as always. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Enjoy the games. Enjoy your day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay. Remember to follow BetStamp. Look for my football stuff. Twitter is hot and heavy as always. You will not find me on Threads because I am a normal person. Remember, when you work this hard, it feels a lot less like luck. Matt is the living testament to that. Just enjoy the weekend. We'll see you later, man. Peace.